Purpose-inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.
What's up, everybody? I pray everybody is doing well. If you're enjoying this nice spring day, these wonderful days, plenty of pollen, bees flying around, lots of flowers. I just love it. I enjoyed springtime. But I'm back. And I'm kind of picking up from where I left off yesterday, just a little bit. I was listening to somebody. There's so many things and stuff going on now that I can't keep up with who and what and all that. But yeah, basically I heard someone's, okay, got that, okay. I heard that they said that there is a empathy disorder in America instead of an empathy disorder. So I had to go and had to dig into that a little bit, because I've always been looking at like how can so many people I thought it was lacking sympathy and lacking empathy. And I truly, to tell the truth, I don't know if I truly understood the difference between the two, between sympathy and empathy. So I did a little digging, and then like I said, there's a lot of study, especially here in America, about the lack of empathy. It's got basically like they call it a disorder. So where we're gonna go? Where we're going with this? Have you ever looked at the status of the society and wondered, where is the empathy? What happened to the empathy? You know yourself, you can tell that a lot of people have changed, a lot of attitudes have changed, and a lot of times I call it like the pack mentality. When the pack does one thing, like I say, a few people in a pack does one thing, the pack follows, and if the pack calms down, everybody calms down. It's kind of like, people, the pack mentality is they follow other people. It's kind of different people who seem like they have a hard time having their own opinion. They may have an opinion, but then if like majority of the people have another opinion, they're going to go with the flow, just join the pack. So just imagine, I'm just thinking back with Jesus. One week they were celebrating him, praising him, just having a good old time. The following week, the total opposite. So was that a different crowd that was there? My understanding, it was the same crowd. We love you one week and we're crucifying you the next. So that's that pack mentality that I'm talking about. So where are we at in our society? It seems like a lot of things that we got accustomed to here in America. Now got a certain pack that's changing stuff, and a lot of people jumping on board, going along with the pack. So that's where this, I believe, where the people came up with this empathy disorder of how we had empathy. We were a country that spread a quote unquote love and tried to help people around the world. And that seems to be eroding away every single day. It's just chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. Instead of brotherly love, looking out for people, it says, I'm looking out for me and mine. Like I said, there's different articles, and actually I saw one right here. It was in the Scientific American. I believe that's the so it was like a science magazine, but they did a study about how the empathy has changed in America. You go check it out. So it's basically not biased. It's not trying to lean and try to attack any side. It's not quote unquote right or left. They just did an article on what they saw and what a lot of people see is the lack of empathy that we have in the country now. So what is the difference? So that's really what we're going to get into today, about the difference between empathy and sympathy. I made a video. I'm good. I'm try to make these explainer videos, explain it to you a little bit better. Sometimes that I can type out what I want to say and then put a video to it. Maybe sometimes it's easier for people to understand with the video. But basically, no, I'm gonna play the video first before I start chopping it up. But I'm gonna jump to the next area and jump to another point. So what does the Bible say about it? What's the perspective of the Bible? What does God say about empathy? What does God say about empathy? Empathy. Are we truly loving our neighbors as ourselves? So I'm just jumping to neighbor real quick. Just that word neighbor. I'm going to be probably referring to that word quite often. A lot of times people think neighbor is the person that lives next door. Do anybody else? What's your opinion? What do you think the word neighbor means? So I had to do a little looking and checking it out too, because the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. And then I said, okay, so what's a neighbor? So a neighbor is people live to the left, people live to the right, maybe a few other people, around the neighborhood. That's my neighbor. But if you really truly read that scripture, you really start to understand that's really not what that scripture is talking about. Just the people that's living beside you. So then you say, okay, loving my neighbor, that means my family and my friends. Okay, so now I got my family and friends and not the people next to me, because the people next to me, my neighbors, they're still strangers. That's still not the definition. So we continue to go studying the Bible. It does not say the person next to you, doesn't say your family and friends. So we're going to get into that. So I still leave the door open. Anybody got any comments on what their opinion of what does neighbor mean to you when the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself? Love your neighbor just as much as you love yourself. Do for your neighbor just as much as you do for yourself. So what you think that means? So then empathy. So one of the definitions of empathy is I'm gonna go ahead and switch. One of the definitions of empathy, truly feeling and understanding another person's emotions that they are your own, or as if they were your own. And then sympathy is feeling sorry for someone, but from a distance. So it's a difference between, pointing a finger or saying, they're going through something. That person is going through something. But empathy is getting in there with it, with them. Say somebody fell in a ditch. Yeah, somebody fell in a ditch. Sympathy. Oh man, I feel bad. They fell down in that ditch. Hope they be all right. Hey, feel for you. But empathy is getting down there in the ditch and helping them while they're in the ditch and trying to help them get out the ditch. So you get down there in the ditch and you know what they're feeling, what they're going through. So it's more than just pointing at them and telling them you're feeling sorry for them. Empathy is actually doing something about the situation. Okay. Is my screen froze? My screen looks frozen. Can anybody tell me? Oh, did I add that to the screen? Sharice, my screen froze? Or can somebody tell me if my screen is frozen? It looks frozen to me. Maybe I can stop some of these programs I got. And maybe I can unfreeze. Let's close that. And close that. And close that. Close that. Go ahead, close that. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I seem to be frozen. Yeah, so you can hear me, but you can't see my picture, huh? Come on, what you gonna do? How do I unfreeze? Oh, man, hate to mess up the stream. Man, totally video's gone. Man. Huh. I need to figure out what's going on. Setting. Okay. All right. I seem to be back. All righty. Sure. Let's see. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Kicked my cameras off. So I don't know where I was at. So I got to edit that out. So let me see. Let's go back up a little bit. Let's go back to defining empathy. So we're talking about empathy. I don't know if you got the analogy or not. My analogy about what's the difference between empathy and sympathy. Let's say, like I said, I apologize if you heard this before I went out. I was just giving an example. Sympathy. If you have a friend that drove off into the ditch, their car down and stuck in the ditch. Sympathy is walking by and telling them you're sorry about them falling into the ditch. And empathy is actually getting down in the ditch and helping them in a situation. So you're experiencing what they are going through. So you really feel it. But sometimes you don't always have to get down in the ditch. But there's a difference. You have empathy. You are actually understanding what they're going through, especially if you've been through that. If you have fallen into a ditch before that you had to get out, so you have the ability to help them get out, or you know what to do, you know how to get a rope, you know how to call the tow truck company and get the tow truck company to help them get out of the situation. So that's the difference. So that's empathy, knowing what the person is feeling, knowing what they're going through, and doing something about it. Sympathy is just, up top. Sorry about you falling in the ditch. Then we know about the other one is lack of compassion. You just don't care. You don't have sympathy for them, and you don't have empathy for them. You just walk on by, keep on rolling. And I believe that's what a lot of that is going on in the country, is they're just looking out for themselves. They can care less about what you're going through. The ones who are maybe down in the ditch or on the verge of going into the ditch, they don't care. Some of them probably even trying to push you into the ditch. Okay, so now that was the difference. So now I'm gonna bring up this video that I made to explain a little bit more about sympathy and empathy.
Empathy and sympathy. Empathy is the capacity to understand and share another person's feelings. It is about stepping into their shoes, feeling their pain, seeing the world through their eyes, from their point of view, and feeling their joys and sorrows as our own. This ability to connect with others on such a deep level is fundamental to our humanity. It forms the bedrock of compassion and love. Without empathy, our interactions become transactional, business only, devoid of genuine care and concern. In a world often driven by self-interest and selfishness, empathy is a beacon of hope. It reminds us we are all human, no matter where we are from and what we look like. It calls us to treat one another with kindness, respect, and understanding, just like God above tells us to. Empathy is often confused with sympathy. They seem the same but are quite different. Sympathy is feeling sorrow or pity for another person's misfortune. It's their problem, not yours. While sympathy acknowledges suffering, it doesn't necessarily involve understanding or sharing the other person's feelings. Imagine a friend who has lost a loved one. Sympathy would be expressing condolences and offering words of comfort. You will not feel their pain. Empathy, however, would be to truly feel their grief, to understand the depth of their loss, and to offer support that is sensitive to their unique experience. In the Gospels, Jesus demonstrates empathy on numerous occasions. He doesn't just heal the sick, he feels their pain. He doesn't just forgive sinners, he understands their struggles. In recent times, there seems to be a decline in empathy, even among those who profess to follow Christ. We see this in the judgmental attitudes, the lack of compassion for the marginalized, and the indifference to the suffering of others. As long as it happens to them and not us, it's not our problem. The digital age, while connecting us globally, has paradoxically made us more isolated. We are bombarded with information, but often lack genuine human connection. This erosion of empathy has dire consequences, both for individuals and society as a whole. It leads to division, conflict, and a breakdown of community. When we fail to empathize with others, we fail to see them as fellow human beings deserving of love and respect. We then ignore their mistreatment by others, even our own country. Rekindling empathy is not just a social imperative, it is a Christian one. The gospel calls us to love our neighbors as ourselves, and we cannot love those whose experiences we do not understand. Your neighbors are all people, not just the ones you like or look like you. To cultivate empathy, we must practice active listening, seeking to understand the perspectives and experiences of others. We must step outside of our own echo chambers and engage with those who are different from us, not pass laws against them. We must also be willing to be vulnerable, to share our struggles, and to allow others to see our humanity. As we open our hearts to others, we create space for empathy to flourish. Like and share. From the mind of Lil Joe.
Okay, so that really goes into explaining a little bit more about the difference between empathy and sympathy. And we can still use that lens as to look at our country. So is our country using compassion? Does it seem like, does it even have compassion? Then if it has compassion, does it have sympathy or does it have empathy? So many people has lost or even forgot what's this all about. And let me just say something else about the world. There's so many things going on in the world, and yes, we are well connected. You see other people with the cell phones and different things, but United States is still kind of like we live on an island. And the reason I say that, like in Europe, there's multiple countries that's near each other, different borders. So a lot of people were able to leave their country to go to another country, and they spend time in multiple countries and seeing different cultures and different things. But United States, yes, we have Mexico to the south and Canada to the north, but it's not really, not that easy for the majority of the country, the majority of the citizens to leave the country. So that, I believe, it's a large chunk. I believe it's the majority of the people in America has never left the country. They have never been to Canada. They've never been to Mexico. They've never been to the surrounding islands. So all they know is their small world around them. So, if only thing that you see every day is the people that you know, your relatives and people that look like you, everybody else is a problem. Something wrong with them. They become the enemy. So you haven't had the chance to experience the real world. You see, we have this big, gigantic ocean to the right and left of the country. So we don't know. Like I said, we can watch the news, but we really don't see it. So there's so many disasters. Yes, we have disasters in our own country, but we're kind of like in a bubble. I believe that's what I'm trying to say. The United States is in a bubble, and we feel isolated, or we are isolated away from a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. So even though you see it on TV, you see it. Sometimes a lot of people don't even keep up with what's going on. It's so many things going on. It's hard to keep up, but just have a glimpse, a little clue of what's going on outside of the world. I think a lot of Americans believe that the world revolves around them. A lot of people are taught and believe that, we're the best, everything, and we have everything the best. We're number one. Everything that we got is number one. Nobody else got anything better than what we have, until you leave the country and go see it for yourself. So there's a lot of positive, good things outside of the country, and there's a lot of lack, a lot of stuff that we take for granted. Majority of the people in the world live off few dollars. Few dollars, not probably $1 a day. The majority of the people in the world never seen a car. That's hard to believe. Never even seen a car. Well, if they've seen a car, there's no way in the world they could think about even owning a car. And a majority of the world doesn't have electricity. Majority of the world doesn't have running water in their house. So this stuff that we take for granted, we don't even think twice about it here. So how can we have empathy and sympathy for people like that if we haven't seen it? We don't know about it, or we see it on TV, or that's over there, that has nothing to do with us over here. So we need sympathy, but more than that, we need empathy. So what signs of empathy disorder? Like I started off the show, I said that there were some scientists that said that United States has a thing, they diagnosed the country with empathy disorder. So what are signs of lack of empathy in our society? So we should know that. And down here, some of the signs: growing division in political communities and even families. Let's start with the families. Yeah, you know a lot of stuff. The families are divided uh, politically, and a lot of different views. The family is divided, and I believe that's really what the enemy really wants to happen, is to divide. They want to divide and conquer. What I just said the other day, that's how I just say that the enemy or the enemies or the enemy within. How do you destroy a people? How do you destroy the company? You divide, a country. You have to divide and conquer. So how do you divide? You got to get people at each other. So our country, our state, our city, our neighborhoods, our street, our homes, the foundation of all of it is the family. So the best way to bust up a country is first bust up the family. So that's been happening for years, busting up the family. So now even in families, we got to bring division. Like, this is my point of view over here, and this is my point of view. So the family is already divided. So now that makes a lot of times that the neighborhood and the city be a divided place, and it goes all the way up through the politics. So we're in a time, unprecedented time, to have a government that's actively causing and bringing division instead of bringing unity. Trying to bring the country together is actively bringing division. And I think it's a lot of it's done on purpose. So what's another sign is the social media increasing self-centeredness instead of the connection. So the Bible said there's going to be a time of people being extremely selfish. Selfishness is about me and mine, and that's it. And that's where you can see a lot that's going, especially social media, and then the news, and then in business, is you got to look out for yourself. Get rich as you can, get much as you can, and don't worry about nobody else. And then here's a declining charitable giving and volunteer work. So there was a time we were number one in giving, number one in helping people. So now we are getting rid of the number one spot. We're doing it ourselves. So we don't have that same compassion. We don't have that same empathy. A lot of times we had sympathy. So we had sympathy what people was going through. So we would send food and money and stuff. But a lot of times you need that empathy. Imagine you in wherever town that you live in, when you see a bunch of homeless people on the street, what are you feeling? Are you feeling sympathy, or are you feeling empathy? Are you feeling sympathy? You're just going to ride on by. You might even get an attitude. I wish that person would get out the road. I wish that person get out the way. I wish they stopped standing there with the sign. I wish they stopped making me feel guilty. Every time I come to this stoplight or this stop sign, I just wish they would go away. And that's what some of the politicians are doing. They're passing laws to try to make them go away. But there's empathy. On the other hand, those people who have empathy, they open up shelters. They open up the churches, especially, like, let's say when it gets cold or too hot. They open up and let people come and cool off, or let people come in and stay warm throughout the night. So that's empathy. That's compassionate in action. So where do you stand? Where do you see that? Where do you see what you're doing in your life to have sympathy or empathy? You see that the pack of the country right now is we don't have empathy and we don't have sympathy. Not all. I just say the lawmakers, the rule makers right now, And a lot of times those, when they make the laws and the rules, you have the other people to follow along. They just jump on board. They don't think twice about it. They don't think on their own. Say, hey, that may not be right. That may not be right to pass a law to make it illegal to be homeless. How are you going to pass a law to make it illegal to be homeless? It's like, it doesn't make any sense to make it illegal to be homeless, but that's some of the laws that's being passed. Do you see these patterns in your own life? Do you see anything in your life that's like eroded away? Like you used to have compassion for people, you used to try to do things, you used to volunteer, used to go to the food shelter, used to do stuff, especially say like during the holidays. Did you used to go and feed the homeless on Thanksgiving before you had your meal? Did you used to go out there on Christmas and pass out the gift bags, what you call the toiletry bags, different things, different gifts, and try to feed them on Christmas time? Did you used to do that? And you don't do it anymore. So why did you stop? Why did you stop doing that? Ask yourself, why did you stop helping people? If people seem colder today, is it your imagination? We just said, the scientist said, and it is declining. Empathy is declining. And what should we do about it? If empathy and sympathy and compassion is declining, it really starts with us. So what do? You need to look in the mirror and see what you can do, and then show other people how to have sympathy, how to have compassion, how to have empathy. That is what's going to help change the world and make the world a better place. Now, what the Bible says about empathy. What does the Bible say about empathy? So I'm going to be reading this. No, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Luke 10:25 through 37. We know what happened in Luke 25 through 37. We are talking about the Good Samaritan. Most of y'all know the story of the Good Samaritan. That story highlights the true love of our neighbor requires action, not just words. So just a quick review of the Good Samaritan. There was a man that was, I should have read the story, brushed up on it before I started this. But anyway, from my memory of hearing the story over the years, there was a man that got beat up and robbed and left half dead on the side of the road. Okay, so there was a publican, I think it was, someone that could have and should have stopped. He saw him, and I believe he was probably a Jew, so he wasn't called the Samaritan. He was probably a Jew, and they just looked over there. Oh, that's simple. That wasn't me. You'll be all right. Kept on moving. And there was a priest, a religious person. He walked by. He saw him cross the street, went to the other side of the road, and probably said a prayer, Lord, look out for him. Send somebody to help him out. I hope he did at least pray for him. But then there was a Samaritan. The Jews didn't like Samaritans. They called them like half-breeds. They was Jews mixed with other people. So they didn't like the Samaritans at all. But the Samaritan, he came through. He saw a Jew. I guess he didn't care who he was. He decided to help him. We took him to the inn, the hotel, and paid some money and told the guy, take care of him. I got to go take care of some business. And when I come back, whatever the bill is, I'll take care of it. That is above and beyond, even for somebody that did not like him. If that guy wasn't beat up and laying on the side of the road, he probably wouldn't have had no dealings with the Samaritans. The Jewish people had no dealings with the Samaritans, but that Samaritan cared and took care of that person. And I keep hearing stories about it. Us, it's like, I say us, people of color, a lot of times we have that compassion. We don't care who you are, what you look like. we're gonna look out for you, even though we know that you don't like me, my family, my kind. Still gonna try to take care of you. So during that story, again, that was the Samaritan where the Jews didn't like it, but he the one that you wouldn't think have the compassion, he was the one that had compassion. So it goes back to that question I asked earlier. My question was, who is your neighbor? The Bible says, love your neighbor um, as just as much as you love yourself. You need to love your neighbor. That's what it says. Love your neighbor as thyself. So who is your neighbor? The story of the Good Samaritan tells you that. So if the Good Samaritan was walking down the street and he thought his neighbor just only people that looks like him, only Samaritans, or only people that had the same type job or same type position or same type money, that would be his neighbor. That's not what the Bible is teaching. The Bible teaches everybody, 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 and anybody is your neighbor. I say it again. Everybody and anybody is your neighbor. Not just the people that looks like you, not the people that talk like you, not the people that looks and live around you, not the people that have the same beliefs, but everybody, every human being is your neighbor. So we need to change our attitude to stop being just for me and mine. I'm not going to look out for nobody else. That's wrong. That's not biblically. That's not what the Bible teaches. So we're going to move right along. So I just read Luke 10:25. What about Matthew 25? Matthew 25, 35 through 40. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. That's what the Lord said. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. Jesus himself showed empathy. He wept. John 11:35. He healed. He fed the hungry. So you see, it's coming together. So sympathy is just talking and saying we feel sorry for you. We sorry. But empathy is that action word of doing something. So you actually feeling what the person feel. And when you feel a certain way, that's like somebody tells you that they're hungry, and you say, okay. And then another person saying, I'm hungry, and your stomach start growling too. You feel it. You feel what they're talking about. And more than likely, you're gonna go get you some food, probably get them some food, because you're gonna take action because you feel it. You're more likely to take action because you feel it, not because you're not on the outside looking in. It's easy to point at somebody, I feel sorry for you that you're hungry. Same thing, we see these homeless people on the street. A lot of times you just finish eating or gonna go eat. So that hunger pain is not, you're not feeling that hunger pain. But if you just stood out there all day and felt what they felt or feel what they feel, you'll probably have a different attitude. You're going to have more compassion. You're going to actually do stuff. Now, a lot of people, when they go on mission trips and they go travel the world, they come back different. They come back wide open, ready to help, ready to do stuff for people. Or if somebody spent some time on the streets, they lost their job, they lost everything and spent some time on the street. Those are some of the ones that's wide open, ready to help those. When they get back on their feet, they're wide open trying to help people. So they have that empathy. They have that that compassion. They understand. But a lot of people who are distant. So that's how I believe we're in a country now where a lot of the people in power, a lot of politicians, people that's making laws, they're so disconnected. They're so far away that they don't feel that hunger pain. They don't feel that trying to make it paycheck to paycheck. And they don't feel that you're trying to survive. They don't feel that you were in a country where you never knew from day to day if you were going to be killed or not, your children were going to be killed. So you took a chance and it came to a new country that said it was welcoming the stranger, welcome to make a better a place to make a better life for people. What happened to that compassion? What happened to America being that place for people to be able to come to and make a better life for themselves and make the world a better place? What happened to that? So I got another video kind of like explaining one of these situations where some people who made it, some people, they make it, you may be down in that ditch that I was talking about earlier. Some people that's down in that ditch and somebody came along and helped them out of the ditch. And some people, after they got helped out the ditch, they won't go back. They see somebody in the ditch. They're like, no, you shouldn't be here. It's your fault that you're in that ditch. So they won't reach back. That's sad. There's some people that refuse to reach back. And there's some people who have made it to become citizens. And now other people are trying to become, they don't want them to get it. They don't want to reach back and help them. They want to keep it away from them. So I got this video of what happened to one person that was against helping anybody. She was pro kick them out of the country. They got to go. And end up the rules changed in the middle of the game. And she had to go to the stuff that she was standing on, the stuff that she thought that made her legal was just an idea that was changed. Like, hey, yeah, they legal today, but let's do this and change this and change that. Now they're no longer legal. Let's get rid of them. So you didn't have compassion for other people. Now, when the game has changed, now you want people to have compassion. You want people to have empathy for you now. That's crazy. So here we go. Moving on. Some people, let me switch back. Some people don't have sympathy or empathy until it hits them. There is a disconnect where, what I'm just saying, there's a disconnect where they just do not understand or cannot see what other people going through. They said, that's them over there. I believe a lot of Americans do that. That famine is over there overseas. Those people overseas don't have any food. Those people overseas don't have any water. Those people overseas are dealing with earthquake. Those people overseas are dealing with flooding. Those people overseas dealing with wars and rumors of wars that don't have nothing to do with us. Okay. So since it's way over there, we don't take any action. But then as soon as something happened to us, we want somebody to have compassion, empathy, and help us out. Know what I do? I live by you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. So I do my best of sowing good things, sowing it to people, helping as many people as I possibly can, helping people that I know is no way possible for them to pay me back. So it's God that's going to pay me back. But I live by, you reap what you sow. So if you sow the wrong thing, you're going to get back the wrong thing. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so number 4, how to create. Nope, sorry, I said that wrong. Looking at my notes. How to cultivate empathy. So one thing, how do you get empathy is to listen. So, or just listen actively. So you let a person talk to you. One, you spend some time with the people. You got to spend time. You got to know the people to be able to have empathy for them. So you got to listen, and then get some understanding. And if you don't understand, pray for some understanding. I've seen some signs where they was protesting. They said they don't understand, but they were supporting. They were out there supporting people that were hurting. So you listen. Another thing to do is step into someone else's shoes. Ask what would I need if I were in their position? So, like if you were, if you try to have empathy for a homeless person, you would say, you know, what would they need? You know, a lot of times we have access to some of everything already. It's easy, especially over in other countries. But here in America, you got most people on average have whatever they need or they have is in reach for them to get it. So you should look, what would I, if I was on the streets in the cold, what would I need? And if you see that person doesn't have that, that should be something that you can go and get. You don't have to ask them. You should just, you can see it. Common sense. Um, Take action. Small actions of kindness build more empathy in the world. So if everybody could take it just small. Everybody did small things, small acts of kindness that will make the world a better place. Um, and another one, pray for a heart like Christ. Ask God to soften your heart towards others. Ooh-wee, soften your heart. So, a lot of times when you see homeless people, you have a heart. I guess I got to say, I'm going to confess, me too. Because when you sometimes you see so many homeless people are asking for something. Like you go downtown, that first stoplight, there's somebody standing there. Let's say you put money out the window to them. You drive down, there's another stoplight. There's somebody else there. Drive a couple of blocks more. There's somebody else there. Go up. I'm like, man, I gave it all away already. I done gave it away. So y'all got this long line of people from stoplight to stoplight. I don't have enough to keep sticking out the window every single time. So that's why you started, your heart started to get hard. You started to get frustrated. You started to get angry for so many people there, but they didn't do anything to you. And then it's not your responsibility to determine like what they do. If you do help them, is you either going to help them or you're not going to help them. You shouldn't spend all your time. Oh, I don't think they're going to use this money right. If you're doing it in the right vein, you're doing it in the name of the Lord. And if you're being guided by the Lord, He's going to guide you to the right people to give the money to. All right, but it's not always. Not it don't even have to be money. I used to like have these like I said, these go bags. Like these bags is already packed up, had different things that I know people on the street may need. Already have it in a Ziploc bag, ready to go. Sometimes I put a couple dollars in. It's kind of rough when you put money in because sometimes I done went out there giving stuff away and they find out money in they go kind of crazy. So just be careful when you put money. Well, you can put different things that people need and put them in the bag and just be ready to go. You already know. Again, you already know in life bad things are going to happen. You already know there's going to be good times and bad times, happy times, sad times. You already know that. So you should already know that there's going to be a homeless person asking you for something. So what? Why continue to get frustrated about it? Just go ahead and get ready for it. Go ahead and pre-plan. I know these guys are going to be here, so I got something for them. Instead of me getting mad, I'm going to have something for them to stick out the window and go on about my day. Just be proactive. Okay. Empathy isn't just about feelings, it's about action. How can you show real empathy today? What can you do? There's something I just gave you. I just gave you the answer. I just gave you the answer. One thing you can do with people on the street, but think about other people that's in your sphere or that you have connection with that needs some empathy. What can you do to help them? So that's my challenge to you. Challenge to everybody who's watching this. Who's in your spirit? Who's that you pass by every day, almost every other day, or who's on your job? Who's even in your household that needs some empathy from you? What are you gonna do about it? So now that's my challenge. Find that one person. Let's start off with one. Let's find one person that you go past. One person, either it can be your house, your neighborhood, on your street, on your way to work. Find that one person that you know that you need to have more empathy, it will need empathy for, and find out what do you need to do for that person and do it. Do it before the week is out. Do it before next week. Let's do that. All right. Can we agree? Can we agree that you can do that? All right. Appreciate it. One thing that I'm planning on doing is called Commonwealth Day. Dr. Miles Monroe, he did it a couple of years ago. He's gone on to be with the Lord. So he had this thing called Commonwealth Day. As we know, God's kingdom, the government of his kingdom is Commonwealth. What is kingdom? So where the wealth of the kingdom belongs to the king. That's Commonwealth. The king owns everything in his kingdom. That's how it works. The king owns everything in the kingdom. One more time for those in the back. The king owns everything in the kingdom. So whatever kingdom that you are in, the king owns everything, but the king, gives you access to what you need in the kingdom. That's how it works. The king owns everything. You don't have to own it. He gives you access. And why own it? So that's just a little bit go down this little rabbit hole just a little bit. Why would you want to own anything in the kingdom? Imagine, like we understand the word landlord. Landlord is the Lord. Landlord means the owner. That's what we call the Lord. Lord, he owns us. He owns everything. But you're like, the Lord owns it? Yeah, the Lord owns it. So let's say, let me give you an example. If you own a house and you rent a house, what's the difference? Yeah, everybody want to be a home owner, and I'm not knocking that. I'm just using this as an example. But if you're renting a home, it's like you Airbnb. Nah, I need something longer. You rent a home, rent a house for a year. You own a house for a year. Things break. Let's say the air conditioner break in your house you just been in for a year. You the owner, you got to pay for that air conditioner. If you are a renter and somebody else is a landlord, the landlord is responsible for the air conditioner. So if a tree falls on the roof during a storm, you're a renter. The landlord is going to take care of it. If you're the owner, you got to take care of it. See the difference? So now the Lord is the owner. He's responsible for everything. So, but he's still the king. He owns everything. So we should always be bringing and giving stuff to him. Whatever we get, Lord, I give it back to you. Thank you for giving it to me, but I give it back to you. Now I want you to cover it. It's your responsibility. You're the insurance policy. So if it breaks, I'm looking to you, Lord, looking for you to protect it. If something happened to it, looking for you to replace it. Instead of putting it on us, we putting it back on the Lord. So he's the owner. All right. I digress. Bring it back in. Coming back in. All right. So now it's playing. Now going back to the Commonwealth Day. So the Commonwealth Day is really for people in the kingdom, but not this time around. A lot of times we do these giveaways and collect food and clothes and different things. We do it for the homeless. But the Commonwealth Day is not for the homeless. The Commonwealth Day is for just every ordinary people in the kingdom. There's regular working people, sometimes working poor, the working poor, and different things like that. So we are, a lot of times you're blessed. Again, like I said, you're in the kingdom. So God bless you with the stuff. A lot of times what we do, especially here in America, we put stuff in closets. We put stuff under the cabinets. We put stuff in bins. Sometimes we have so much stuff, we go get a storage unit and put stuff in storage units. So we just hoard stuff. But God is saying, this is my kingdom. So I gave you stuff to bless other people. So I gave you stuff to use it. And when its time is up, you don't need it no more. It's time to pass it on. Pass it on to somebody else in the kingdom. Pass it on so to be blessing somebody else. Pass it on to somebody else and get some use out of it, and not just you holding on and hoarding stuff. So that's the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth Day is a day where people go, well, a little bit before, they go through their closets get good stuff. They go into their bins. They go to the stuff that they got stored up and bring out good stuff that's still useful. Microwave, toasters, and TVs, um, quality clothes. They bring out those different things, and then they bring them out and put them on display and give it away. So it's you open your hand like you God gave you something. A lot of people, God give you something, you close your hand up and keep your hand and just go store it. But God wants you to have your hand open. He wants to put stuff in your hand and let it flow through. That stuff keep coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. But what we do, we like to take stuff and store it up. But God wants us to keep it flowing. So what we're gonna do, have the Commonwealth Day, bring all these different things out, and people can come up. But we also want people to be a part of the giving part too. So you don't, not only are you gonna be getting stuff, you're gonna be bringing and giving stuff. So everybody got something. Bring something. You can just bring one thing, but then you could probably take away 10 things. Don't matter. You participated. So that's the Commonwealth Day. Like I said, we're working on doing that here in Jacksonville, and we'd like to do that in other areas too. Okay. So it was just one of, did I get everything? So that's the Commonwealth Day. All righty. So what I wanted to do is one thing. How can we get more empathy? We need more empathy. So America, I just want to say this. America doesn't need more opinions. America needs more empathy. Will you be part of the change? Will you be part of more empathy instead of opinions? People got all these opinions on why a person is homeless, opinions on why people are in lack, why people are in need, why people need, Social Security, why people need welfare, why people need Medicare, Medicaid. We got all these opinions on why they need it and what they should have done and what they shouldn't be on, and blah, 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 blah. That's not compassion. That's not empathy. We need empathy. So if you have the means of helping someone get off these social services, by all means, use your blessing to help them get off of it. That's you in action. That's you having empathy and helping them get off. But don't just have all these opinions on why people shouldn't be this and shouldn't be that, or this and that. No, people have enough of that. Show some compassion, have some empathy, and help people in the situation where they're at. So that's my request for you. And also, my time is about coming to an end. That's right. Let me jump to this real quick before the night is over. Like I remember, I was telling you about how some people, they had a hand up, but then when it was time to reach back, they didn't want. Nope. They burned the rope. They chopped the bridge down. They make sure that nobody else came in behind them. I feel like this is one of the situations with this video here. So let me bring it up. It was somebody that really pushed the new administration, but then it backfired. I'm looking up here. It backfired on them. Let me see. Come over here. And here we go.
So what is TPS? It's a temporary immigration status that allows people from crisis countries like Venezuela to live and work in the US legally. It was created by Congress in 1990, and it's been a lifeline to hundreds of thousands of people already in the US when problems in a home country make their departure or deportation impossible. Now, the Trump administration decided to end the temporary protected status or TPS for around 300,000 Venezuelans living here. Many could face deportation. Florida is home to the largest Venezuelan community in the US, with many at risk of losing their status. Ending this protection could disrupt families and local economies, especially in Miami, where Venezuelan culture is a key part of the city's identity.
Beyond betrayal, during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that it was not going to touch the documented people.
So, who is impacted? The termination applies to Venezuelans that came under TPS in 2023 and their status ends in April. For those who registered under the 2021 TPS designation, those protections will remain in effect until September 10, 2025. What's next? Advocates are calling for action, urging Congress to find a permanent solution like a path to citizenship or a renewal of TPS.
Okay, so what I was saying, the point I was trying to make, that the young lady in the middle of the video, she was pro the new administration. She was pro crackdown on immigration, pro kicking people out of the country. She was all for it because she was promised that we're not going to mess with the Venezuelans. We're not going to mess with the TP. People have the temporary access. You know, that's 300,000 people. They did it the right way. That's people keep saying they need to do it the right way. They came over here wrong. They did it the right way. They did step by step what they're supposed to do. Somebody changed their mind. I don't care if they did it the right way. I want them out of my country. Even though you helped us get elected, you voted for us. You got your people to vote for us because we promised that we wasn't going to mess with you. We were just going to stop people from coming in, and they changed their mind. We really just use you to help us get elected. Now that we're elected, you can get stepping. That's what is happening. So they fell for it. They were like, okay, yeah, let's not let nobody else in. Let's block anybody else from coming. We on your team. We're going to make sure nobody else comes in. Anybody that's illegal, we're going to kick them out. So all they did was just click. There's one little click. They changed the law. So they were legal. Next, now you're not legal. Just like that. No matter that you supported me, supported them, doesn't matter. You were legal. Now you're no longer legal. Just like that. When I said 300,000 people were one day legal, and then somebody changed their mind. Next day, they're illegal. So now let's kick out 300,000 people. And mind you, these are working people. These people are doing it right, living as United States citizens, productive citizens, going to work, providing services for Americans, paying taxes. Did you know that a lot of these majority of them, like the immigrants, they can work, have to pay taxes, have to pay Social Security, but cannot benefit from the social services. So you understand that money is billions. I mean, billions with the B, billions of dollars were taken out of their paychecks every month, every year to go into the taxes and the social services. And they were helping the economy. They were working, doing jobs a lot of times where other Americans didn't want to do. So they're working, they're providing a service, they're doing things productive in the country. They're actually putting money that's needed into the country and not able to benefit from them, but because they're from the wrong country, the wrong skin color, we want you out. And then, the crazy thing I heard before I came on the air tonight, that my lovely state of Florida, and I think Tennessee, there might be other states, are planning on changing the labor laws, so a lot of the protections that we got during the civil rights movement, a lot of, and we got some, we had some child labor laws. So now a lot of the states are planning on getting rid of the child labor laws or reducing the child labor laws so children can fill in and take some of these jobs that a lot of these it's millions, I forgot how, it's got to be get close to the millions of immigrants that are getting deported, and the majority of them illegally deported. So they're deporting these people, these human beings, these really Americans. They're deporting them, and Then we need a plan. There's too many people getting deported. Where is this new workforce going to come from? Let's just say that let's just do a million. If we deport 1,000,000 workers, 1,000,000 people doing a million different jobs. I'm talking about the workers. I'm not talking. If it's 1,000,000 people working on different jobs, so employees, and these employees were paying taxes. These employees was paying rent. These employees were buying groceries. These employees were buying food. So they're putting money back into the economy. So you take those 1,000,000 people away. So there's billions of dollars that's taken out, that's out of the economy now. Those millions upon millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars taken out of the different local economies in different towns. So how do we make that up? So all they can think of now is to lower the age for the children. To put your children to work. How that's gonna work out? I feel for you. How that's gonna work out? I think a lot of things haven't been thought through. Okay, that's it for me for tonight. I hope you learned a little bit about empathy, sympathy, compassion, common sense. All right. Until next time, you Joel.
Purpose-Inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.